Fox News alert, breaking details on Donald Trump's search for vice president. Reports out tonight that say the Trump campaign has begun the process of formally requesting information from a small group of potential running mates. The vetting process has begun. The potential candidates are North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, and Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. Other people are still likely being considered, but this initial outreach suggests that these men are on the top of Trump's list. Other potential running mates like Tim Scott have been vetted, but not to the level of Burgum, Rubio, and Vance. Donald Trump says he plans to make his VP pick announcement closer to the Republican National Convention in July. Chief political anchor and executive editor of the Special Report, Bret Baier, joins me now. So, Bret, this Burgum movement is real. Apparently, the Trump people were really impressed by how he went to the courthouse to defend the president. What are you hearing?
Yeah, Jesse, good evening. The Burgum movement is real. Paperwork is being exchanged. And you're right to point to those top three. They definitely are under consideration for VP. But sources are telling us that that list is a little longer than that. We're in a different phase now. They're in the serious vetting. But it also includes Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton. It includes, as you mentioned, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, Florida Congressman Byron Donalds, and even former presidential candidate and former HUD Secretary Dr. Ben Carson. So the list is a little bit longer than just the three, but they are narrowing down. And to your point, I don't think this is going to finish up until right before, even at the convention, according to sources we talked to.
There's always drama when it comes to these things. Rubio, Bret. I mean, I thought he was a resident of Florida. Isn't that a constitutional issue?
It is. Well, I mean, you would have to, you don't want to lose Florida, and technically you would have to, one of them would have to move out. So like we saw with Dick Cheney. I don't think it's Trump.
Right.
So you would have to, you'd have to change that, and that would have to be something that they would agree to. But clearly, to get on that ticket, not only Rubio, but Byron Donalds would have to do that as well.
What do you see as the advantages electorally for each of these top three candidates?
Well, let's say you're looking at Burgum. He's a businessman, very successful. He's a governor. He is well-versed in energy issues, and the presidency has a lot of fondness for him. Rubio obviously has a lot of international experience. He is Hispanic, and he has run for president. And Vance has a particular relationship with the president. He doesn't, regionally, he doesn't need Vance in Ohio. It's a pretty solid red state, but it does fit his loyalty and somebody that he could see working with. There's others on that list, and I would just be careful to limit it to those three because, as we've seen with the former president, there's a lot of intrigue and possibilities that pop up before you get to the convention.
And it's also personal chemistry. We know how much personal chemistry means to the president. What about DeSantis? That name was not on there. When Johnny goes out and interviews people, people still mention DeSantis as a name. Is that out? Or is that a crazy option?
I think it's not on the list that I've talked to several people as of tonight. And the list that I just gave you, including the three that you started with, is where their headspace is. As far as turning over paper, I know that Governor DeSantis is working hard to fundraise for the former president, and they have mended ways since the primary.
A lot of mending needed to be done, but it's been a good road, apparently. How important is this pick? Because this is a 4-year deal. There's no more Trump after 4 years. Whoever he's choosing gives him a huge on-ramp to run for president after that. That person could start running for president if Trump's reelected, and after the inauguration, start getting feelers out. What is that going to look like?
I argue that this is a really important pick. Most times it's not. I think that this time it is sending a signal of stability to Republican voters. You want to be able to say, we as a ticket are going to run, and then the future of the Republican Party is likely this person that you choose, because, as you note, I mean, that will be the way forward. But, you know, it is Donald Trump that's running this whole thing. And, you know, he doesn't, I think, and he's talked about this openly, doesn't think the VP choice is that big. I would argue it's a little bit bigger this time in this circumstance, especially considering what we just saw in Manhattan.
All right. And no women there. That could change. But
At
right
least
now,
Stefanik.
Stefanik, okay. Not in the top tier, but again, that could change. Bret Baier, thank you so much for joining Jesse Watters Primetime.
You bet.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.